İlk ve son Türkçe kelimelerimi söyleyeyim. Hepinize hoş geldiniz diyeyim. Bütün seansı yabancı misafirlerimiz olduğu için İngilizce yürüteceğiz. Kulaklık almak isteyen arkadaşlar alabilirler. So, welcome everybody. Today we are talking about such an ambitious topic which is called Digitalizing the Retail Insurance Business. And I have my guests, Mr. Erdem Aydınlı from Sigortacini and Mr. Stan from PIP-Rate from Ireland. We would have another guest from Germany, but unfortunately he's got a car accident. I think his life and health is okay, but we will be three here, so we will have more room to talk about.
I hope he had insurance.
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, he was representing one of the leading groups in Germany, VFox Group, and they have both an aggregator and marketplace channel and also a truly digital carrier, which is called One, and they got quite lots of investments as well. So, before starting to chat about the topic, let me introduce it. Okay, we are talking about the digital nowadays too much, digitalization, insurtech, innovation, etc. And today we will elaborate on this idea as well. Insurance has its own challenges, setting aside the technology and digital all around the world. At the end of the day, it's not there's no love brand on earth which is an insurance company. So this is saying something to us, I think. And, but from market to market, the challenges differ. For the major markets, industries are trying to look for ways for getting new revenues, new customers, or at least new revenues from the existing customers. For emerging markets, there are some problems for going to the market in terms of the price and distribution, etc. And for markets like Turkey, which we can call semi-matured or still emerging markets, which is low penetration rate and also low growth as well. We have those problems of the mature and the emerging markets, but on top of it, we have two problems of explaining, saying our word to the customer and reaching to the customer as well. So this is on the selling side, but after we are able to sell insurance to the customers, then comes the service part, and insurance is also not very reputable in that sense as well, because insurance is at the end of the day, it can be a type of joke, but financing a service that you are not eager to deliver anyway, actually maybe. So in that sense, within the realm of delivering insurance service, there are lots of things to do for increasing the customer engagement and creating happy customers as well. And also we have regulation. In between all of those issues, we have to comply. We have to comply and run through this regulatory press, getting our targets. So I want to now turn to my guests, and as we are being the hosts, I want to start with Stan. So Stan, you can talk about PIP-Rate and about Ireland a bit, and how do you see how is it going in the Ireland in terms of the retail insurance, and what are the challenges, what are the opportunities? Can you elaborate on this?
Yes, thank you very much. So my name is Stan Nazarenko. I'm the CEO of PIP-Rate. It's an Irish insurtech startup that solves the insurance industry's fundamental data sharing problems. And there's a very strong angle about retail insurance, which I will elaborate on in the next few minutes. My background is in quantitative finance and reinsurance. And when I was working in reinsurance, I experienced firsthand that the issues with data are absolutely critical for the future of insurance. And at some stage, I decided to jump into the exciting world of insurtech and try and change it. One of the strong positions which we have is that currently, for a number of historical reasons, the way we handle insurance data in the industry is heavily driven by processes, not customer outcomes. And we strongly believe that if we wanted to get to a brighter future, we need to change the way we approach it. We need to move from the process-driven architectures to customer and risk-driven solutions. So with this in mind, we created a platform that allows carriers, reinsurers, reinsurance brokers, and other market participants to securely and directly interact with each other and build a completely new way of representing risk data and insurance data so that we get to this point where when we develop new consumer products, it's less about integrating potentially a brand new vision into some existing rigid funnel, but really thinking about the customer, really thinking about risk. Thinking of the insurance market in Ireland, it's a somewhat unique place with unique challenges and unique opportunities. It's a small market. The local market is very well developed. Having existed for a long time, we are facing the typical problems with legacy systems and issues around upgrade of these systems. If you talk to local insurance company CEOs, probably the biggest issues on the agenda are first cost of claims. This is a domestic issue, and they are working with the regulator and with the judicial system to address it. And another very big challenge locally is regulation. This is interesting because if you think about Ireland, it's a very young country. The population is very young. We are very tech savvy. We are willing to try new products. So it sounds like a perfect test bed for new digital-first insurance products.
What's the population of Ireland, actually?
Good question. I should not give you the number because I don't have the precise number.
I asked from parts that you want. 5? Ireland?
Yes.
5 million.
That sounds about right, yes.
Yeah.
So with this kind of a population structure, it's an ideal test bed for digital-first products, but we haven't really seen that many, even though we do see a clear transition from sort of call center-based approach to insurance to a lot more kind of online experience. Again, if you talk to the local CEOs, interestingly enough, if you compare their position around changes in customer behavior with the global position, they seem to be caring a little bit less about it. It's a very interesting observation, and again, my interpretation of that would be that it's driven by very strong concerns about regulation. Yeah. Going back to that subject, there are some initiatives going on at the Central Bank of Ireland level to mitigate it, and we believe that over the next couple of years we will get a much more friendly environment for kicking off new digital products. But at the moment, this is one of the challenges.
Okay, maybe we can stop here because we can come to the innovation part later. Yeah. And so Erdem, actually everybody here is knowing you and Sigortacini. Yeah. Maybe with a short introduction of the Sigortacini, and can you elaborate on the Turkish market in that sense, in terms of the retail insurance?
Sigortacini in Turkey is an investment of NN Group. Yeah. And we have two companies here in Turkey, NN Life and Pension Company, our sister company, and we have Sigortacini as a basically non-life aggregator that is working both online and offline, meaning we have insurance shops, which I can talk a bit more later on, but also we have an online aggregator that's comparing products and creating leads to the physical shops. Mm. We are in 16 different cities in Turkey with 37 physical locations, and as part of our business model, we are actually engaging local smaller agents into our network, making them become part of Sigortacini together with their client portfolio, because they have several problems in growing their businesses, working with limited number of insurers and no IT background and a lot of operations and trying to feed all those people. So we tell them just let go of all those things, become our shop manager in our shop with our brand, with our 20 insurance companies, aggregator tool, local marketing, online marketing efforts. You're going to grow your business much bigger, serve much better to your customers, and you will earn more together with us. So that's basically our business model. When we wanted to put it together like 6 years ago, it's like a bit romantic. It's like fighting against the windmills because of the nature of the market. Because we started with a sentence. We say, we believe every family needs to be protected against life's unexpected events.
Yeah.
But apparently the families don't believe that. That's the problem. They don't believe that. They don't believe that. Actually, we should say they don't know about it.
Then you had to convince them.
Exactly, exactly. You have to convince them. Because, you know, we are like 80 million people living in this country, like 3 times as big in population only in Istanbul. Much lower financial literacy and much bigger confidence to ourselves. We are the proud Turks. Nothing happens to us.
Yes.
Never ever. And
Upon which comes the fate.
Yes, and if it happens to happen, we have our family to take care for us. So that's the mentality. And since we are a mobile nation, since all the times from Asia towards Europe, we are mobile with our horses. Now we are mobile with our cars, which is our most valuable asset. So it is like 80% motor insurance market when you look at the non-life. So we started thinking about like how do you really explain customers, families, that they actually need insurance in different parts of their lives for different values, assets they have. And we said that maybe we should have a chain of insurance shops, as we call them, where we invite families, where we open them on a street next to the neighborhood grocery. Yeah. Or next to the neighborhood tailor, where everybody shop, where everybody walk every day in the morning, going to their work and coming back in the evening and buying from the baker, and they will see sigortacini. And maybe we can start inviting them in, because you know we have a nice concept, a good space, an expert who can talk about insurance, tell you what you need and why you have to buy them. And by the way, you can come over with your children because we have a playing ground. Yeah. So they are having fun there and we're talking about insurance. And if you're somehow convinced about buying other insurances than motor insurance, like home insurance, health insurance, maybe you would like to save for your future, then these are the 20 companies offering you their products with all these coverages, with all this detailed content that we compare for you. And at the bottom of that comparison, you can see the prices as well. So if you walk into a shop, get such a advice for your insurance needs, get an insurance need planning, and then get the details and options for an insurance policy, and you don't want to buy it, it's fine, it's a free service. So what we do is in the shops, we provide a free of charge insurance needs planning. And putting together all the quotations from insurance companies and giving it to the customers so that we make them start thinking about it. And it's a very nice value proposition. Like everything, almost everything, you test it with the customers and they love it. And then you open the shop and nobody walks in. Because you know it is a trust market. So all these people, like in the morning in the 360, Yavuz also said that people are shopping online, but buying offline from their good old insurance agent, from their Hüseyin abi. Yeah. We are also Hüseyin abi because we have these agents who were working in that area, who are experienced in insurance for 20 years. They have delivered really good service to their customers, but only their customers know about that person. Then we need to communicate with a larger mass. So what we started doing is we also introduced our online aggregator like a year later in the process, so that we compare the products online and bring customers to our shops. So in that sense, what we are trying to do is a sort of a hybrid model where we have the physical with the shops and also digital with the online. Because as we discussed in the C-suite as well, how much digital you go doesn't matter as long as the customer doesn't embrace it. So if you somehow have to attach a physical component, it could be a call, it could be a visit, it could be inviting people to your shop. If the customer is asking for that, you have to deliver that. So in that sense, as a manager of a physical network, I'm here talking about digitalization of retail insurance, because we see it as a hybrid, as a omni-channel thing to do if we really want to penetrate better in
Can I interrupt here? Sorry, because what you have mentioning is very important. I think it's an opportunity for us to hear from you that the experiences of both the physical shop owning delivery of insurance and also digital delivery, the correct balance among this, which we were also talking about in the C-suite. Actually, we are talking about the right balance among the physical selling and the digital selling as well. But now, by starting to the technology and innovation part, I am again going back to Stan. So Stan, and again within the challenges of Ireland and again Europe, how do you relate those challenges with the technology and innovation part? What are the opportunities that can be delivered through PIP-rate perspective naturally? What do you expect to, how do you expect to relate PIP-rate services to the retail insurance?
Yes, when we started thinking about the overall problem, how data moves around the value chain and what it means for us customers and for, well, us in this case, insurance professionals, we realized that we cannot provide a good enough solution, future-proof solution, if we exclude the customer, the insured, from this picture. So our platform is inclusive to both the insurance companies, players, brokers, carriers, and so on, and the insureds themselves. This allows us to establish this bidirectional channel with the insured. Imagine, like currently, the practice is that you communicate with your insurer or your agent like once a year, and then unless you need to make a claim, you just don't talk to them, and they don't talk to you. And this is not great for business. This is not great for selling. It's not great for engagement. If we had a seamless way to communicate back to the customer, it opens up a whole lot of new opportunities. If we wanted to build new products, we can be reaching out to the customer and potentially selling more products as they experience something. This is very important to think about the future of digital insurance is not really about selling insurance, but selling experiences and having insurance embedded into the experience. If your insurance product enhances the user experience, that's what they're going to buy.
At the end of the day, the consumer's behavior is shifting from this experience base, and the insurance consumption cannot be separated from this in that sense.
Another important aspect of this kind of future picture is risk prevention and education and mitigation, because if insurers can communicate back to the consumer, educating them about the risks they're exposed to. We just had a roundtable discussion, and one of the examples there was about communicating about some severe weather events directly to the consumer using a mobile phone. This is very powerful. We as insurers, when we underwrite risk, we have to do the proper assessment. So we have a lot of information about the client's exposure, which we don't really communicate back. What if we had this new picture where there is this bidirectional channel so that you can share this information back? If you buy home insurance, you can actually say to a customer, well, just for your information, this is your risk of flooding, this is your risk of earthquake exposure, so that they know more about their risks, and potentially they even can correct you and say, well, actually, I don't believe this is true, and can you please explain how you came up with this idea? So in other way, the real secret is communication. Suddenly, you go from no communication to a lot more communication. Yeah. This is the secret to selling digital.
Yeah. And okay, we can come again to the data part of it as well, the data ownership maybe. We can talk about this, but I'm again switching back to Erdem, and I want to hear your experiences regarding those balances in the physical distribution and with touching the customer through digital channels as well.
Yeah, yeah. What we have seen is, especially in our market, but I think it is up to some certain level in every market. What we see is there are really good, experienced insurers who have a very big problem reaching out to new customers. And even though they cannot convince those customers for different types of products. It is anything out of motor insurance in Turkey, but if you go to Western, it is maybe newer types of products like cyber. How do you explain cyber? How do you expect a person or a small entity buy cyber insurance over digital? It's like what Deniz is here. What he said. Like as insurers, there's a mismatch. As insurers, we say like, okay, this is the great product that I prepared for the market. Here it is, buy it. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen without the traditional agency channel. If you don't educate them or give them some access to market and make them powerful to explain this. And now, it doesn't work if you don't bring that with the demand, which is becoming digital. So for insurers, the digital is, as you said, the processes that we make better, so that we lose less money in our operational workload and we make more profits, because we see everything as a cost item. So we are becoming very digital. If you look at that in Turkey, almost all insurance companies, they are much more digital than even the companies in the Europe in terms of their products. In terms of their processes. On the other hand, the digital for demand means now. I need insurance now, and I will get it now. But someone has to convince me. I search online, look around, get all the data I can, and I make a decision about that myself. But I need a person who is going to tell me that this is the right thing to do or the right policy to buy. It could be over the phone, it could be face, it could be whatever. Because I think we cannot go over this trust issue of insurance, and all the customers are actually, to be honest, are looking for someone to blame in the future if it works, if it doesn't work. So what we are trying to do is we are giving all these customers a person to blame. And they're not going to blame that person because they are the insurance experts. They know very well about the products, and their mis-selling percentage is really, really low. So we are giving this online demand, digital demand, a physical person that they can trust. And when you do that, you can also break that issue of like, we're going to talk to them every single year for the renewal kind of a thing, because if the customer finds you online and trusts you and buys a policy, in a couple of months you can talk to that person again for other insurance products, and they will trust you still. So you can penetrate more, you can cross-sell. So this is what we are trying to do. At the beginning, what we did is like, if you are going to open a shop, an insurance shop, you go to the places where everybody is, which is a shopping mall for Turkey. I don't know how many shopping malls you have in Ireland. I think we have in Turkey like 400. And it's huge, huge traffic, thousands of people. And we had 3 shops in three shopping malls, one in Ankara, 2 in Istanbul, and they were located in very, very good locations, just next to the parking lot. So every single person coming in and out, every day, 20,000 people passing by. That's the traffic. And you have the insurance, very good products, 20 companies, very good experts inside.
Nobody's coming.
Nobody's coming in. So this is our problem. So how we're balancing it, we're now out of the shopping malls because it's huge traffic, but also huge cost for that traffic, and is not demanded, so nobody is going in there. Instead of that, we have our tagline as your neighborhood insurer, the trust element. We are here for 6 years, we will be here forever, and we are going to help you with your insurance decisions, new insurance products, as well as after-sales services, which is the moment of truth for our industry, the claims. So if you build that trust with digital, it works. And there's one thing I can also say. When you look at our heat map of our website, the customers are typing like Casco Insurance, and they see Coali, they see Sigortam.net, our competitors, which are huge in digital insurance, and they see us, and then they go over to the internet sites of every single one of them. Before starting a comparison stream, they look at our tab, shops. They click, they see a shop nearby, and then they go back to the online journey of getting a quotation. So that's the trust element. So what we believe for the coming couple of years, maybe decades, even in Turkey, this trust element will still be there, but the demand is online. So we need to put them together.
Very good, thank you. And taking the topic of trust from what Erdem left, actually, trust, think to the insurer, to the carrier, whether it's online or offline, it doesn't mean. We are putting our very own personal data in the hands of the carrier in that sense. And we are talking about the opportunities of processing those data, analytics, AI, etc., all the buzzwords. But at the end of the day, those data is getting more and more important. And how do you relate and how do you elaborate on the idea of this data ownership from starting with ownership and
it's
requirements?
It's very interesting that we're talking about trust and insurance, because insurance is the industry built on trust. That's the fundamental principle, because we expect somebody to pay out the claim if something happens. Yet, I can't remember the exact percentages, but it was very interesting research done a couple of years ago, and the simple question the survey participants were asked is, do you trust your insurer? And the numbers were surprisingly low. It was like in low 50s. And you could interpret this result as, well, maybe just don't trust their own insurer, but they can switch and the other guy will be better. And they asked this question, and the answer was actually no, that this is the best answer you can get. So why is that? Well, there are many different, I guess, aspects to this point. But going back to the data aspect, there was also another very big global research done in this area, and specifically insurance respondents were asked how visibility and transparency around how their data is used affects their willingness to share data. Obviously, data is extremely important now for having insurance business, and it will be even more important in the future. So, so people who weren't given the opportunity to know what happens with the data, only 24% were willing to share it. If they were given an opportunity to know what exactly is happening and that they feel in control, the number jumped from 24 to 61, I think. Very, very different. It's a tremendous difference. So with these kind of observations in mind, I think it's almost inevitable future that now that we are realizing the real value of data, we cannot just stick to the existing structure where we just part with our data once a year, and this is kind of it. We don't have any visibility, but we see it more as a data sharing. So we share our personal data with the insurer. It still belongs to us. It's very clear. Ideally, it should be transparent how the data is used and who has access to this data, but we don't want to go too far. With this kind of structure and with these numbers, you can imagine how different the picture will be, specifically for the digital, because if you don't just use the digital channel, but you retain access to your data, you can always see what you provided. It will benefit everyone because customers will be happier, they'll be more trustful of the insurer. Next time they renew, they don't have to fill out as many details. And also, well, data protection is a massive concern for the insurance industry. If we think of insurers potentially using a lot of the data they collect maybe for literally a couple of seconds if it's fully digital, and then they just need to retain this data for all different purposes, but they still need to safeguard it,
keep it up to date as well.
Keep it secure and everything. This is cost, this is not benefit. So what if we leave this data in the consumer's custody, have it shared for a limited amount of time, and if we need to look at it again, we can look at it again, but we are not the ultimate custodians of this data.
This is the ultimate goal we are trying to reach, actually.
Yes.
This is, I personally believe, as well. Maybe we have time, since we are just two, we can elaborate more on this. And I'm again switching back to Erdem. First, I want you to elaborate on this sharing as well, because as an aggregator, you are sharing the customers' data among the insurance companies. I want your thoughts about this sharing, but first, I want this. You created an experience, your own experience before the customer experience, like your experience that you found a balance of convincing, building trust, and connecting this with a digital flow, and so that you can sell insurance to the end customer. So there's a percentage of being on the physical part and on the digital part. When it comes to renewals, how about this percentage, I think?
Renewals is like 0% digital.
0% digital.
Because the fact that it's again coming from the trust, from the market specifics maybe, because if as the agent, as the insurer of the customer, if you call them next year talking about like you have a renewal and these are all the options, and select one and tell me which one to issue, and if the customer does so, you ask him like, how are you going to pay? Give me your credit card information so that I can issue the policy. You're out of the business. Because what customer expects is he has trusted you once at the very beginning, and he expects this call. You know what, it is time for your renewal, and I looked at all the options, and this is the best for you to have the same company or switch, doesn't matter. This is the best product for you, and I'm getting the collections from your credit card number that you have supplied last year. This is how it works for non-life insurance. That's the reason why we have these agents in our shops, because they have built this trust. So if you look at it that way, it is easy for the customers to switch companies at the renewal, but it is not that easy for customers to switch their agent. They stay with the agent because they don't want to look for any options. They don't want to give the credit card information to a stranger. But this guy was a stranger last year. Doesn't matter. I trust him. So if you look at it that way, the renewal process, it is not automated. It is still manual in Turkey, and you have to renew every single year. But the interaction, even that annual interaction, is very, very limited, very, very small. They don't want to bother with insurance. That's the reason why they have engaged you as their insurance agent. You take care of it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You have given me a good policy last year. I didn't have any problem over the year, so I didn't have any claims yet. So just do whatever you want. I just want you to give me the best policy. That's all. So that's how people are looking at it. That's the reason why we're still talking about this very, very deep trust issue in insurance. That's also the reason why online sales, direct sales, is not booming. because that is booming in all industry in Turkey. People are buying their furniture, their electronics, their clothes, everything online, but not insurance. Just 1.5%, 2%, because they want this. Because next year they don't want to go online, search again, try to find the best policy. They don't want to bother with it. So that's how the population is thinking about insurance now. It is going to change for sure in the coming years, and I think any intermediary who wants to survive in the future should be ready for that change. But we don't know yet when that's going to happen.
What will be the main driver of this change? Going from Gen X to millennials, etc.?
I think so, because they will be more prone to buy everything themselves directly online. Plus, I think we are going to, in the renewal case and that kind of things, I think in time we are going to start replacing this physical element of renewal through more automated processes. And people will start trusting that. But that will come together with the trust to the insurance companies. As long as we are very good in claims, as long as we pay on time, as long as we don't show any surprises of this is out of coverage or that is whatever at the moment of truth, people are going to start doing this. But until then, it's not going to happen. So for Turkey, we are also talking to Koala, we are talking to new investors like Tamoniki. We think, everybody thinks that's going to happen, but we don't know yet when. That's the reason why we need to keep digital and physical together for the time being.
Thank you.
For the data, maybe I can say a couple of things. The most important thing is the data is still for insurers. The data is everything you need to know to issue the policy, number plate of the car, age of the car, the driver's driving habits, and everything you need to know to contact with the customer. And nothing else. And if you talk about like, okay, I got all this data and I will share it with my partners to send you your policy over post or whatever, they say, no, you don't share it. Then you explain them, they say, okay, yeah, you can share it. But I think what is going to click in the future is the data itself is going to become the value proposition for the customer. Then they will be willing to supply you more data about their lifetime moments, about their preferences, about their likes, dislikes, hobbies, whatever, in return for a value proposition. We are also trying that. We are calling the customers. We are having a welcome call and asking customers, like, do you have a pet? It makes no sense. They don't want to reply. Because they don't know, and we couldn't put it into a value proposition of an insurance product for their pet yet. So as long as we can combine this data with a value proposition, then they will be more willing to supply you those data. Then it will kick in, like, how do you keep it? How do you securely share it? How do you process it? And how do you use it with insurance companies or whatever to put together a really good value proposition for the customer? I think it will go towards that in the future, so that we have much bigger data of the customers and we can help them much better with insurance products whenever they need it.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, I was planning to talk about the barriers and challenges in terms of the technology, but we started with some vision for the future as well about the data. Let me ask, how much time do we have? Ne kadar zamanımız var? 15 dakikamız var. I think we can just elaborate a bit more about the vision of future of data as well, and then we can talk about the challenges also we are experiencing today. Or maybe we can first start with challenges and close with more positive things, more hopes. So let's start with the challenges. As of today, as peep rate and trying to penetrate in a market where data is important and trying to much secure data exchange services with blockchain type of new, what do you experiencing? What type of challenges do you experiencing as of today? And
I think the biggest challenge we experience is cultural. It's about insurers traditionally being so protective of their data, even if there is an obvious benefit of changing the way they process data, it just takes a lot of persuasion to convince them that this is the right way of approaching it and this is future-proof. That would be probably the number one challenge. Other challenges are, of course, it's just about costs of implementation, whose budget that is, how does it relate to internal initiatives, because again, we're talking about legacy systems, integration. Integration is always a challenge. We were lucky enough to simplify our proposition so that it's all API driven. It should be very, very seamless for insurance players to interact with our systems. But we totally appreciate that many other similar insurtech startups have quite big issues with integration as a last
Mainly,
point.
we can summarize this challenge in terms of, as a startup, you have a concrete value proposition, but besides this, you don't have enough scale to optimize the pricing as well, in that sense, maybe, isn't it?
It's actually, I think it's less about scale. It's a little bit more about delivering this new vision and building up trust that...
This is one part. I was talking about the implementation costs when we are talking about...
Oh, yes,
The cost, actually, if you can increase your customer base and if you can increase the scale, the per transaction, let's say, cost will diminish anyway. But
well, here's a bit of a secret. Having worked on the other side of this process, the biggest cost very often on the buyer side is dealing with legacy data, because in most cases the quality is not great. We're talking about very, very old systems. So IT managers typically underestimate the amount of effort and money required to bring this data up to, let's say, standard they want to have. And this is a part of what we would do with them.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And for you, you had your business challenges. We have talked about this. And from a technological perspective,
I think it is a broader, in a broader sense, what you say about data is applicable to everything. The insurers are very much protective about all the value chain. As you said about the IT managers about data, the marketeers in the insurance companies don't have an idea about how much effort and money it takes to build a digital channel and a digital awareness. Maybe the people who are managing the claims don't know about how much effort and money is going to take to instantly pay claims if the customer does a couple of simple things. They think like we are going to innovate, and then they start and they see like it is becoming a mess within the company. On the other hand, there are several third parties who want to do the digital marketing part for you, who want to do the claims handling for you, who want to do the data part for you. So the insurers, I think, the biggest challenge in innovating in insurance all around the world is we don't want to let go parts of our value chain that are not actually that valuable to our own company. And maybe because of the amount of time and effort we have to put into that, we don't make it better. So the customers are seeing all the flaws in that process, and they walk away to others. And this is the root cause why, as we discussed, regulators are not opening the way to fintechs, because the market doesn't want it. They want to keep it within themselves. That's the reason why new distribution channels don't emerge in markets like we have here. So I think for myself, it was very useful to attend yesterday to see what bankers are talking about. Becoming a factory, let go of the value chain, and being open bank. I think as insurers, we're not as open as bankers yet. We are a follower business. We should accept that. Like, we are always following. We are a big part of financial market, but we are a follower of bankers, and we need to follow them. Not always, but in this sense, we need to follow them closely and maybe be more open-minded about what parts of our business we can let go, so that we can focus on better products, better production, better services.
Concentrate on some muscles.
Concentrate on something that really makes difference for the customers. And let the people who knows how to talk about the customer, how to talk to the customer, talk to customer on your behalf. I think that's the main challenge.
Yeah.
I would very much agree. We like saying that insurtech is lagging behind fintech by about 5 years. So if you want to know what exciting technologies we will be using in 5 years, just look at fintech now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why it's not a technological question. It's a mindset question for insurers.
Okay, I think we can close and ask for some questions. As we talk, we are trying to elaborate on topic what is done and what is to be done within the insurance industry in order to get to the customers with new value propositions, etc. Those are topics very limited in this limited times we can cover, but we know that in the future, really, we will experience insurance companies who know us better, or we will be working within insurance companies who know their customers better, or we will be working in a technological companies who will deliver those technologies to the insurance companies. They enable them to know their customers better, and within this technology journey, also the customer's data is becoming more and more critical, both in terms of security, but also in terms of the potential it has as a added value. If you have any questions to ask, we will be glad to answer you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Afternoon session.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I will ask something about data sharing. Zamanımız kaldı mı? 5 dakika. Okay, this is my question.
Not a hard one.
Do you think, this is verse 10, maybe you can elaborate on this as well. Today, we started to use some data, some sharing, document sharing platform, cloud platforms.
Yes.
Google Drive, Dropbox, any of it. When we're talking about customer data, or any data it is, actually, our customer data is a document. On one page is our identity information. On the second page is our health information. On the third page isn't it? And do you think that in the future our data will really our own data, where we can store it on a cloud and share it to insurance companies on a temporary basis when they are trying to price our policies, or share it to health institutions when they are trying to make some thoughts about our health things? Do you think that we are...
Yes, absolutely, and I believe it will go much further than that. We're not just talking about interaction between the customer and the insurer. We're also talking about the whole ecosystem of third-party services and providers of analytics who may be in between the insured and the insurer. For example, if we were talking about, let's say, credit scores, well, the insurer doesn't necessarily need to know what the customer may have provided to some kind of scoring agency to come up with some high-level score. But as long as they trust the output of that agency, that is sufficient. So we're talking about the whole new way of processing somebody's data and getting indirect insights into that data without directly touching it.
Yeah.
Because the more you touch personal data, the more exposure and issues you may have. And we all know the emerging risk of cyber. It will not go away. We completely underestimate the danger of what we are already into. So I believe the future is exactly that. It's a combination of many different processors of data who take as little data as possible, provide as much anonymization of data as possible, as makes sense, and insights and derivative data flows through a system so that we all can benefit from it without actually directly seeing it.
Okay. I was asking this because at the end of the day, for every enterprise, okay, the data is important for knowing the customer, but it is also becoming our main headache when we are trying to make it up to date, and the maintenance cost of data is tremendously high. If we can put this data to the hand of the real owner of the customer, and he or she can make it up to date and get it flourished and share it when it's time. Yeah. This decreases the cost. There is naturally a way to build the trust on it, but yes, it may enable tremendous opportunities for us as well. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. Çok teşekkürler katıldığınız için.
Thank you.
Çok teşekkürler çeviri için.
Thank you.
Thank you.